Hey, it's Rob with Phandroid.com. I'm here with the Huawei P8 Lite, which is actually available now. A review will be coming next week, but because it's now available, wanted to give you guys a quick hands-on and first impressions and let you know what we think about this device. So the first most important thing to keep in mind is this is an affordable Android device. It's only $250 on launch. You buy it unlocked directly from Huawei or Amazon or a number of other partners and take it to AT&T or T-Mobile, and you can be up and running in no time. There's also some payment options, so if you don't want to pay the $250 up front all at once, Huawei has partnered with a finance company to allow you to spread that over 3 months, 6 months, or a year, which is nice for people looking for that, the value and flexibility. Because it is a more affordable phone, it's not going to have all the top-of-the-line specs. Huawei has done, though, a pretty good job at balancing where they choose to put the money and where they choose to skimp a little bit. So first of all, you'll notice this is a 5-inch screen. It is 720p resolution. It's not going to blow your eyes out of the water, but it is a nice and pretty good display. Take a look around the device. On the bottom here, you can see the dual speakers, along with the micro USB charger. The speakers actually get pretty loud. I was impressed with them. So the speakers, definitely a plus of this device. On the left, there isn't anything except for this chrome bar that goes around the entire, wraps around the width of the device. And it's clearly plastic if you take a close look at it, but it gives the phone a nice premium look and feel to it. So it does have a nice look to the phone in general. On the top, there's that 3.5 millimeter headset jack, and you can see a little noise canceling microphone right there. On the right, you've got the volume rocker up and down, and you've got the power and sleep button, and that one is metal. And then interesting right here, we've got these are dual SIMs. So we don't see this a lot in the States, but if you have a personal phone and a work phone, you could theoretically stop carrying around two phones and just use this one phone, put each SIM card in, as long as they're AT&T and T-Mobile in the States, put one in each and be off to the races. And there's some software features in here that allow you to toggle between which SIM card is active for calls or data and whatnot, and even set different ringtones accordingly. So if you do use both SIMs, then you're going to have 16 gigabytes of space on your hard drive here, which isn't a lot, especially the OS takes up about 6 gigabytes or so. So you're only going to have about 10 gigabytes of space to work with for files, for music, and stuff like that. So not a whole lot. However, if you're only using one of these SIM slots, then the other one will double as a micro SD slot. So you can buy a SanDisk SD card and stick it in there and have a bunch of extra storage. So that's kind of up to you, and may make a decision on whether this is the phone that you want to snag or not. On the top here, you can see obviously the earpiece, those LED lights, and then there's this 5 megapixel front-facing camera with fixed focus. On the back, you've got a 13 megapixel camera with LED flash. So that's a pretty hefty camera for a budget phone. There are some other, budget Android phones out there, and typically we don't see ones that are this affordable with such high megapixel cameras. We'll have to see how the photos actually turn out, and so stay tuned to our full review for that. I'm not sure how you'll be able to see this well in this lighting, but you may notice on the back there's a brushed metallic kind of look on this, and this is on all, I think there's 3 different colors. It looks really nice and makes the device look premium. It's just a subtle touch, and this whole phone is about being subtle. This isn't some splashy, flashy S6 Edge where they're trying to highlight a feature or the speakers on the boom sound. Really, Huawei's taken a toned down approach and just try to make an elegant phone. It's affordable, but it looks great. And this brushed look, which I think is some satin coating on here, and it has a cool a feel to it too. Really does a nice job with that. The top part that overlays the camera, is this plastic overlay on top of the camera components. But overall, it looks really nice, simple. If you just saw this sitting on a table at a bar or something, you may think that it was a flagship phone. It looks that nice. It's nice and thin. And overall, it's a pretty good looking and feeling phone. There's a 2200 milliamp hour battery on this. And in terms of the internals, it's got 2 gigs of RAM. And it's a 1.5 gigahertz octa-core processor. It's actually the Qualcomm Snapdragon 615. So, again, not going to blow your socks off, but it'll do the job. It'll especially do the job because it's only running Android 4.4 KitKat, which is the most unfortunate feature of this phone. Of course, Android 5.x Lollipop has been out for quite some time now, and we just heard the announcement about Android M. So we're not sure why this is, especially because this same exact device internationally is launching with Android Lollipop. So that was disappointing. We haven't heard word about an update schedule, but I'm not sure how much I would trust update schedules. They just seem to never be too accurate. And you can see if we jump into the settings about phone and Android 4.4.4, and then there's the internal storage with 16 gigs total and about 10 gigabytes free. So really wish that they would have launched this with Lollipop. Hopefully we'll get word and hear about an update schedule. But the other thing about this, and some people may love this, some people may hate this, some budget phones now we're seeing with stock Android. This does not have stock Android. This has Huawei's custom Emotion UI 3.0, which has a few features that I do not personally like. The first is there's no app drawer. So just like the iPhone, all your apps just get dumped into the different home screens. This little windmill animation you can change. I just thought that was cool. But yeah, they all just get dumped, and then of course you can organize them like you normally would on Android and put them into folders. This Google folder is put there by default, but you can organize them. But I've come to love the app tray on Android and being able to quickly access them. What you can do, however, is a very iPhone-y feature that Huawei's included, is just pull down from the home screen and you get this nice, depending on how you look at it, nice little spotlight search. And so you can search apps, contacts, messages, and whatnot directly from there. So that's the alternative. I like being able to jump into an app tray and kind of look around, but to each their own. You'll also notice that Huawei's really just taken a lot of cues from Apple. So the icons are those rounded squares. And even in the system trays, you'll notice that they have kind of an iOS look and feel to them with the design of the icons and the size of the text. And so I'm not sure if Huawei is kind of with their UI going for a, hey, folks that don't want to pay for an iPhone or can't, here's a good alternative. But I don't think that's the case because Huawei is also putting this on their higher-end smartphone. So some people are going to love it, some people are going to hate it. What you can do is go ahead and just install a home screen replacement like Nova Launcher and get more of a traditional Android experience. And that's probably the first thing I would do because I'm not a big fan of the Emotion UI in general. What else can we tell you about this? Here's Huawei Wear, which we'll tell you a little about in a different article. This is the TalkBand B2, which is their new fitness tracker. So works along with that and works along with Jawbones Up, which is pretty neat. And there's a bunch of hidden stuff in here, as with any phone, and we'll go through a tips and tricks and first things you should do. One cool one is when the device is locked, you can just double tap on the down volume part of the volume rocker, and it will quickly launch your camera. Not only launch it, but it will also take a picture and tell you how quickly it took the picture. So 1.5 seconds, it launched the camera, and it also snapped a picture, which is pretty neat. I'm pretty excited to check out this camera because on such an affordable device, a 13 megapixel camera is pretty beast. But I do not have a ton of camera samples yet, so check for that in the full review. Let's see how long we can get this one going now. Oops. Okay, I didn't press it fast enough. There we go. 1.8 that time. So that's a pretty cool feature. Most phones these days have some way to quick launch the camera. That's a pretty cool one that actually takes the picture right off the bat. Some other things I can tell you about the device. It's got Bluetooth 4.0, Wi-Fi, GPS, all that typical stuff that you would see. One thing we don't see in a lot of stateside phones these days are, there's some support apps. There, an FM radio, so that's cool that that's included in there. And it records video at 30 frames per second on the rear camera and 15 frames per second on the front camera. And this is an interesting strategy for Huawei going after the e-commerce side of things, and it comes with some benefits with customer service. All the customer phone support is US based. There's a 2-year warranty, free shipping inbound and outbound if your device should break. So Huawei's really making an effort to support people who want to buy an unlocked phone, but it sounds a little bit intimidating to them. They maybe never have done it before, don't know how to do it, or they think it's, on par with rooting your phone. They don't know any better. So Huawei's really trying to simplify the process, provide some great support, and take this device, which is otherwise a pretty awesome looking device with solid features, offer it for $250, buy it on the web, and before you know it, you're up and running with a pretty strong Android device. So aside from Android 4.4 and my personal distaste for the Emotion UI, the Huawei P8 Lite is looking pretty good. Looking forward to doing the full review, and for that, stay tuned to Phandroid.com. Thanks a lot, guys.